Chapter 12 Signs and Symptoms upon the Age of Kali. The next time I awoke in the body, it felt like I'd opened a blank page. My eyes blinked, but I couldn't remember the date. How long had I been asleep, and what had happened up to this day? All of existence felt auspicious. It felt like the dawn of a new age. As I began to walk through the woods, I had a terrible kink in my neck. It was a certain nerve pain between my right shoulder and my ear, and so I could barely turn my head to the left. What a strange dream, and I'm not sure I know what any of it means. It felt as if I'd been conversing with different spiritual archetypes that were all living within me. As I began to wander around the forest, I saw much chaos to my dismay. There was the Father's Pyramid that appeared to be an ancient artifact, and not far from that, I heard the echoes of a debate. This caught my attention, because it seemed that everyone around was watching. There were two podiums, on one side an old man, and on the other side was a con man. "What's happened to the world?" I asked a bystander. "We're on the brink of a third world war," she said. "The third world war? But I don't even remember the first or the second. What's happened to the great spiritual kingdom?" I pointed to the ancient pyramid, and I'm not even sure what I was saying. Yet something within me spoke, as a collection of spiritual archetypes and I were merely observing. "A kingdom? You mean the pyramid? It's all but burned out. It was taken over by warlords after it burned down. Now the pyramid holds parties for politicians, actors, actresses, and other famous people, because no one else remembers what it was originally for. Now will you stop bugging me? This debate features the two people running for president, and the result could lead us into a world war," said the bystander. As I turned to watch the debate, everyone knew it had not started off great. What the hell had happened to humanity? I was in shock at our current state. Now the two candidates began speaking.
"The only person on the stage who is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at on my right,"
said General Mo.
"Well, Mo will be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office,"
said the con man.
"He had sex with a porn star while his wife was pregnant. I mean, what are we talking about? He has the morals of an alley cat,"
said General Mo.
"I didn't have sex with a porn star. He makes up his stories. And what are you going to do for this country anyway?"
asked the con man.
"We'd be able to help make sure all those things we need to do. Childcare, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health system care, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with... Look, we finally beat Medicare,"
said General Mo.
"Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death. And he's destroying our nation because of all these immigrants that are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security,"
said the con man.
"Well, what about abortion? Can you tell us what you do about that?"
asked the moderator of the debate.
51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody,"
said the con man.
"Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who was just murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, and they talk about that. But here's the deal. There's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers, and sisters, it's just ridiculous. And they can do nothing about it. And they tried to arrest them when they crossed the state lines,"
said General Mo.
Well, your son is a loser and a sucker,
said the con man.
My son is not a loser. He was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Said General Mo. Wait, what are they on to now?
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on. The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more solemn office,
said General Mo.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence, and I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
said the con man. You've got to be kidding me. I was in shock and looked around to see everyone else was in shock as well. We were on the verge of World War III, and picking either of these two would send the world to a burning hell.
Don't worry,
said a third man. Elect me, and I'll sue all the corporations. Now this third man had brought his own podium, but he wasn't even in the actual debate. He was in the crowds of people, but I'm not even sure if anyone took him seriously from what he had to say. What do you make of the con man? Asked a bystander to the third-party candidate. His ideas and mine couldn't be further apart. I'd never join his side. He will not have my support. But do you want to see something cool? I've got a freezer full of roadkill, said the third-party candidate. Now the con man continued.
I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you've got to be quite smart, and you have to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match, but he can't hit a ball 50 yards.
Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. When I was vice president, I got my handicap down to a 6.
That's a lie.
You can see he is 6'5", 235. Well, he said he's 6'4", 230 pounds.
Are they arguing about height and weight at a presidential debate?
Well, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bags. I was 8 handicap.
You know how many? I've seen your swing. I know your swing.
I'm not gonna stand for this.
me neither. That con man is as close as I've seen to a Nazi,
said a senator beside me. The entire debate was insane. There was nothing else I could say. I was in shock to see the mess that was before us, and so I turned the other way. There on the roof was a shooter with a gun, and it was unbelievable. The young shooter fired the gun, and it hit the con man's ear when he was rushed off stage.
Hey you!
The con man to the senator.
Will you be my running mate and partner?
Wait, that's the guy that previously called him a Nazi,
Wow, really? Yes, let's be a team.
said the senator as he screamed at the crowd.
The left is a bunch of childless cat ladies.
Everyone was in a mad dash, but I couldn't look back. I saw the other party moving when a woman took the stage, but the whole debate was trash. Wait, said the third-party candidate. I'm going to join the con man. That way, I have a chance at altering the world's fate. Walking away from the debate, I couldn't stand it anymore. The world was suffering, and we were on the brink of a world war. Yet in this body, there was something beyond a human. I could feel an intuitive spark of the spiritual soul that existed long before life on earth ever began. Gone beyond the body, gone beyond the mind, gone far beyond the other shore lives the essence of eternity that humanity calls divine. It was obvious that our human ego ruled upon this world, and the human ego has taken over the debate candidates. And because of the stupidity of our own government, these two were the so-called candidates that were left for us?
I can solve this,
whispered a voice from the forest. Far away from the debate and the chaos of the world, I heard a call from the forest. No one else appeared to be here, and so I was led closer to the second Great Pyramid. Where are you?
over here.
Whispered a voice from the mirror. As I pulled the mirror out of my pocket, I gazed into it to see what could not be seen. As I focused deeper, I felt a certain spirit beginning to overtake me. Who's there?
Parikshit. Together we can solve it.
Solve what?
Solve all of it.
She said. Who's Parikshit?
We are it.
The wind whispered. What is this? At once I saw a cow and a bull, which were being beaten by a dark woman in the middle of the day. Charging ahead, I yelled out, "Stop at once and back away." Something very strange was happening, because the dark woman did as she was told. Then a moment later, the woman who was dark as night began to sparkle like gold. Now the cow was in great distress, and I knew her name without anyone telling me, for it was a sign that my intuition had heart, and so I bowed to this suffering cow, for this was the great mother of our earth. As the cow wept, I turned to the bull, but it was lying on its side in terrible pain, and now the bull only had one good foot, while 3 of its legs were mangled. And was it because of this dark woman? Why would you hurt these animals? I yelled at the dark woman. Was she a dark demon? And still she seemed to sparkle like gold. This strange occurrence of such a tragedy seemed to pull us back in time, and somehow this experience was like a lesson which began to unfold.
You already know,
said the dark woman. As I looked to the injured bull, I wanted to make her pay for the harm that had been done. And again, my intuition told me the name of this bull, for it was called the World Religions. What happened to you? I asked the bull, who embodied the World Religions. I have lost 3 of my legs, and I only have one left. I can no longer protect the Mother Earth, for I have been beaten by a dark force who has overtaken the morals of humanity. For now, the earth is in a state of disorder, said the bull, who had been protecting the earthly cow.
What now?
Asked the dark woman. You'll pay for this, I told her.
Me? But humanity has done all of this,
she expressed. This bull was terrified of being beaten, and he was so afraid that he could barely even move with the one leg. Although the cow represented the earth, she was so valuable and beneficial because humanity can draw religious principles from her. But now she was rendered helpless, poor and calfless. The cow had tears in her eyes, and she was so weak and distressed. Now I turned to the dark woman. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong, and yet you allow harm to those who are helpless? Yet these creatures are within our protection, and who is it that glimmers like gold? But by your deeds, you are opposing the principles of that which is good like gold. You are not of this earth. You are a rogue. Why would you allow anyone to beat an innocent cow and bull? If you have beaten the innocent in a secluded place, I consider you a culprit, and therefore you could be killed. The dark woman stayed silent for a moment, and so I turned to the cow and the bull. I have come to protect you, and all that is true. From this day forward, I promise that everything will be good for you. Now I turned to the dark woman. Shall I kill you, since you appear to be the most wretched, as you allow humanity to wage violence against the earth and religion? Whomever causes violence to living beings does not deserve to live anywhere in the world. Fear me now and forever. Fear me, those who cause torture, pain, and hurt. My duty is to protect all life and to chastise those who stray from the ordinances of the scriptures. Look what the world has done to the earth and its religions, and so you must answer for this torture. Do you realize the words you speak? Said the bull, which assumed the personality of religion. These words befit a person of the great spiritual dynasty, captivated by the devotional qualities of saints and angels. God has heard you, O great being.
It is very difficult to determine the particular troublemaker who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Some of the philosophers declare that one's own self is responsible for our personal happiness and distress. Others say that superhuman powers are responsible, while others say that action and activity is responsible. And then, the material man says that nature is the ultimate cause. Some say that no one can know the cause of suffering, not by imagination, and that we cannot express it by words. O Protector, who has come to look over us, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence,
said the bull. You, who are in the form of a bull, you know the truth about religion, and you are speaking in accordance to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator of irreligious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrators. You are no other than the personality of religion. What I mean by this is that no one can be directly responsible for their sins or mischief without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, can anyone be directly responsible for such action? Is it not that both benefit or loss is God-sent, and thus it is all God's grace? Often in the case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God-sent, but in the case of loss, one might become doubtful. Although the bull, who is the personality of religion, and the cow, the personality of the earth, knew perfectly well that this dark woman was related to the world's suffering, still, we were aware that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon the world. Now I saw that the cow and the bull never placed any complaints before me of being tortured by this dark woman. This extraordinary behavior by the bull made me understand that the bull was the essence of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion.
You are starting to remember,
said the dark woman.
You must recall why we've come here. Have you come back to kill me? Or have you come back to face the great fear?
What fear?
That the end is here.
The dark woman paused.
There are 4 ages of the world, 4 cycles, which could be called yugas. First is the age of truth, which is the golden age. Second is the age of non-violent religious sacrifice, when a quarter of the truth is lost. Third is the age when humanity begins to stray from the religious way of life, when half of the truth is lost. And last is the age we are in now, the Kali Yuga, which is when more than 3/4 of the world is lost. In this age, wars break out, and ruling leaders fight for power, wealth, and influence. No longer concerned with non-violent sacrifice, morality is diminished to shadows, where men and women live much shorter lives. People are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, almost always disturbed and anxious.
Now the cow spoke.
In the age of truthfulness, the 4 legs of Dharma, which are the 4 legs of the bull, were established by the 4 principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But today, 3 of the bull's legs are broken due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust, and intoxication. The bull, which is the essence of religion, is left standing on 1 leg, which is truthfulness, and is left hobbling along. But the coral, personified as the dark woman, who could be called Kali, flourishes through deceit, and is also trying to take out religion's last leg,
said the cow. I turned to the personality of Kali, who seemed to understand the force behind this madness. Was she the reason behind the world's chaos? And it appeared she tempted the world into debauchery and darkness. Then something happened, which was quite unexpected. As I gazed into Kali's eye, I felt a bow and arrow upon my hip. But was this a means of destruction or protection? But it was not my power, since it did not belong to me. Yet I understood it was God-given, and such a celestial bow and arrow could take down all enemies. But was this all part of Kali's personality?
How did you get that?
Asked Kali. She was referring to something within me, but it was not something I could see. Now what was it exactly?
How did you pair up with a kami?
Asked Kali. Wind began to surge, and rain began to swirl. I'd forgotten how there was an unseen spirit I was tied into that was an elemental force acting as a protector of the entire earth. For it was not I, this was not me, but something within was more powerful than the darkness and chaos I assumed as Kali. When Kali understood that there was a force stronger than her and I both, which could also defend life from death, she abandoned the deceit for a moment, and under the pressure of the kami, she completely surrendered and bowed her head. I was not like her, not ruthless or cruel, and so I accepted the surrender and did not kill her, but rather I smiled, as we must hold compassion and be kind to the poor. We have inherited the fame and good qualities of our ancestors. Therefore, since you have surrendered yourself with folded hands, you need not fear for your life. But you cannot remain here, for you are the friend of all that is dark and hostile. It seems your darkness has taken a grip over the whole world and has infected the minds of the leaders of our world. Does your darkness promote greed, falsehood, robbery, treachery, misfortune, war, cheating, quarrel, and vanity around the entire earth? Therefore, O friend of irreligion, you do not deserve to remain in a place that was meant for truth. I have given you a chance by sparing your life, but still I must banish you.
O your majesty, though I may live anywhere and everywhere upon the earth, I shall see your bow and arrow wherever I look. Therefore, O chief among the protectors of religion, please take me to a place where I can live under protection, said
Kali. I give you permission to reside in the following places: gambling, drinking, prostitution, and wherever animals are slaughtered inhumanely.
What about gold? Can I reside in gold? For wherever there is gold, there is falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and hostility,
she said. No. And this time it was my intuition that spoke.
Oh, is that so? Then I do not accept the conditions in which you have spoke,
said Kali. This is not a debate. The kami has the power to destroy if need be.
Come on, why not one last dance with me? Only then I'll set you free, said
Kali. Why?
Because I've got the only key that can restart the pure power of the pyramid's connection with divinity,
said Kali. In her hands was a golden key, and my intuition knew it held the power of the divine. There was no other key like it, and there was no other key that one could find. What is that key?
It's called Kalki. It's the end of the Kali Yuga. It can usher in the new epic of the Age of Truth. It can remove all unrighteousness and save the world's future and provide for the mother's youth. Kalki only appears when everything is so dreadful that the world must be cleaned up. Come on, time is almost up,
said Kali. Before I could do anything, the dark woman ran into the second pyramid. This was the mother's pyramid that was left abandoned. She disappeared inside after leaving the entire world in a state of madness. What has happened to the world?
Since long ago, the world has not been its best. The earth has come under subjugation of kings and dynasties that have polluted the world with filth, while the people have been left behind and oppressed. some indulge in lusty debauchery. So many seek conquest and domination, yet they all have appeared as family dynasties. Kings after kings, presidents and rulers, they will hoard things that they alone do not need. They will act almighty and righteous by playing sport, golf, and polo. Yet they will be obsessed by conquest of excessive greed. Ruler after ruler, they rise then fall as they rule different parts of the world. And as they rule in the age of the Kali Yuga, they will only perpetuate the sense of filth and dirt. There will be many such uncivilized leaders ruling at the same time, and they will all be uncharitable, possessed of fierce tempers, and commit to concealing crimes. These barbarians in the disguise of leaders will devour good citizens, murder innocent women, children, animals, while coveting wives and property of other men. They will be erratic in their moods and have little strength of character, and their kinship will be short-lived. They will all be swayed by money and fame, and they will be completely covered by modes of passion and ignorance. These low-class kings and rulers imitate the character, behaviors, and speech of poor rulers, and this will all come at the cost of the suffering citizens,
said the cow, which personified the spirit of earth. How long has it been?
Don't you remember? The dynasty thrives auspiciously in the realm of King Parikshit. You are the essence of our age of truth, and so the world has fallen into the Kali Yuga since your kingdom fell into it,
said the holy cow. But how? How could this be anyone's fault? My God above, what must we do to rid the world of this filth and sort this darkness out?
It was not your fault, for God allowed it to be. What if all this has happened so that we can come back into the spirit of truth, so that we can sing the song of the ever-free? Look at who we are. Examine your human personality. You hate injustice, and you did everything not to kill the terrible Kali. You are fair and modest. You are gentle yet firm. Whenever you see suffering in this world, you make healing the utmost priority and concern. You cannot stand to see wickedness flourish. You are a protector of every good man, woman, child, and youth. Don't you remember? You are called to embody the essence of the age of truth,
said the holy cow. And out of all these phony leaders, then who reigns supreme?
Complete liberation from extremes is the supreme king and queen. Boundless deep spaciousness is the supreme king of meditation. Freedom from bias and setting limits is the supreme queen of conduct. Remaining without hope is the supreme king of results,
said the bull personified as religion. Then what are we to do? I see the deceitful leaders who hold a death grip upon earth and still maintain control. If we are to surrender hope, then so be it. But still, I will rise to fight and protect the goodness that lives within all souls.
Kalki, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of creation will descend and come into the incarnation. At this time, the rulers of the earth will have crumbled into plunders. Upon the signs and symptoms of the Kali Yuga, that is when the incarnation will come forth before a great reckoning occurs,
said the holy cow. And what about Kali's key? Can it unlock the age of darkness and bring forth the age of truth, love, and prosperity?
Kalki is the Lord of the universe, and he rides a swift horse named God-given with a weapon in hand. This soul is not a single person, yet it is the consciousness of the age, as this soul travels over the earth, exhibiting the 8 special qualities and 8 mystic opulences. Kalki displays an unequaled radiance and rides with great speed. This consciousness of our soul will kill those thieves who have dared to dress as kings. After the impostors and frauds have been killed, the cities and towns will feel the breezes carrying the sacred fragrance, and their hearts and minds will become transcendently pure. When Kalki appears on earth, the consciousness of our soul will be the maintainer of all religions, and the age of truth will begin. Then human society will bring forth children into the mode of goodness,
said the holy cow. What are the signs and symptoms of the Kali Yuga compared to the differences from the other ages?
when the mind, intelligence, and senses are solidly fixed in the mode of goodness. That time should be understood as the age of truth. People then take pleasure in knowledge and austerity, and when the conditioned souls are devoted to their duties, but have ulterior motives and seek personal prestige, you should understand such a situation to be the next age, in which the functions of passion are prominent. When greed, dissatisfaction, false pride, hypocrisy, and envy become prominent, along with attraction for selfish activities, such a time is the third age, dominated by the mixed modes of passion and ignorance. When there is a predominance of cheating, lying, sloth, sleepiness, violence, depression, mourning, bewilderment, fear, and poverty, that is the age of Kali, the age of the mode of ignorance. Because of the bad qualities of the age of Kali, human beings will become short-sighted, unfortunate, gluttonous, lustful, and poverty-stricken. Women and men will become unchaste and will freely wander from one person to another. In the age of Kali, cities will be dominated by thieves, and the scriptures will be contaminated by speculative interpretations of atheists. Political leaders will virtually consume the citizens, and the so-called priests and intellectuals will be devotees of their bellies and genitals. Some will fail to execute their vows, some will be unclean, some will be beggars, and some will be greedy for wealth. Men and women will eat too much and have more children than they can properly take care of. They will lose all shyness and will speak harshly and exhibit qualities of thievery, deceit, and unrestrained audacity. Businessmen will engage in petty commerce and earn their money by cheating. Even when there is no emergency, people will consider any degraded occupation quite acceptable. Cows will be abandoned or killed when they stop giving milk. Pigs and chickens will be slaughtered in mass kill automation centers inhumanely. In the Kali Yuga, men will become wretched and controlled by sexual women. Many will reject their fathers, brothers, other relatives, and friends. A new conception of friendship will be based exclusively on sexual ties. Uncultured men will accept charity on behalf of the Lord and will earn their livelihood by making a show of austerity. Those who know little about religion will mount a high seat and presume to speak on religious principles. In the age of Kali, people's minds will always be agitated. They will become emaciated by famine and taxation. They will be disturbed by fear of drought. They will lack adequate clothing, food, drink, and be unable to properly rest or have loving sex. In the age of Kali, men will develop hatred for each other, even over a few coins. Giving up all friendly relations, they will be ready to lose their own lives, and some will kill their own relatives. Men will no longer protect their elderly parents, their children, or their respectable wives. In the age of Kali, people's intelligence will be diverted by atheism, and people will almost never offer a prayer or sacrifices to God, who is the supreme spiritual being of the universe. People will do business with God, making requests during prayer, and will live their lives as if they're the center of the universe. Although the great God, who controls all worlds and planets within and beyond, very few will bow down in reverence to honor the Supreme Lord. Even when man or woman is terrified, about to die, and collapses, if they utter the holy name of the Lord, they can be freed from the reaction of the work and be one with God. But still, people in the age of Kali will refuse to worship God. In the Kali Yuga, objects, places, and even individual personalities are polluted. God, however, can remove such contamination from the life of one who fixates God within their mind. If a person hears about, glorifies, meditates upon, worships, or simply offers great respect to the Supreme God who is situated within the heart, the Lord will remove from their mind the contamination accumulated from all their sins and mistakes. Just as fire is applied to gold to remove impurities, so God within the heart purifies the mind of all people,
said the holy cow. And how can one stay sane during the Kali Yuga?
My dear protector, although the Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, it is not a permanent state. And so there is one good quality about the age of Kali. Spiritual progress and healing happens at an incredible rate. In the age of truth, we are content just as we are. Then in the second age, we can perform offerings to God. And in the third age, we must serve all beings. But in the fourth age of the Kali Yuga, we can be purified by simply chanting God's name and prayers, where one can become free from material bondage and have a seat in God's kingdom. Such chants include the Maha Mantra, Hail Mary, and many other mantras and prayers,
said the holy cow. And what will happen to the political rulers?
Political leaders challenge one another. They claim, all this land is mine, but it is not yours, you fools. Thus they attack one another and die. Not one of them can permanently establish their rule. Their time is coming to end. What they call patriotic is misaligned, for they have been lost in selfishness. A new earth is coming, because the current politicians of earth are spiritually blind. They scratch and claw. They do little to help the souls of earth, and so they are unwilling to sacrifice their own ego or monetary worth. It is brave to surrender and to open, but the politicians have revealed that they do not understand how to let go. If they cannot learn this fact of life, then it will be taken from them,
said the personality of religion, living as the wounded bull.
We have explained to you all the narrations of the frauds who aim at fame through their time in this world and then depart. But our real purpose is to teach transcendental knowledge and renunciation. Examples of the politicians lean toward power and wealth in these narrations, but do not in themselves constitute the ultimate aspect of knowledge. For a new earth is being born, and the politicians and old leaders cannot prepare for what is next,
said the holy cow.